Tekva is not only a word. Hope has always been our driving force, the power that pushes us forward. To plant, to build, to do the impossible, to turn the yellow into green, the desert into blue, and a small community into an advanced high-tech nation. Hope is an unquenchable fire, and if someone tries to extinguish it, it only burns brighter and stronger. Come and turn hope into action, into Aliyah. Our new Aliyah programs in housing and academia will accompany you through your transition, making it easier, more comfortable, and more rewarding. Israel is waiting for you. Today's Olim, Israel's future tomorrow.
So we discussed Aliyah, immigration. Now let's hear from the official Israeli ministry that is in charge of one of the core missions of Zionism, Avichai Kahana, Director General of the Ministry of Immigration and Absorption, will now speak about the latest revolutions and the way this whole, this is things that we read about in the prophets, and it's happening. It's part of a government ministry. That's kind of amazing. He will speak with I-24 news correspondent Mike Wagenheim. Bevakasha.
Avichai, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
There are right now a lot of tough budgetary choices for the government with the war ongoing, a lot of belt tightening. Your ministry, though, recently unveiled a 170 million shekel plan to increase Aliyah and absorption. You see it not as an expenditure, you see it as an investment in the future of Israel. Tell us about this plan.
Exactly. Israelis after October 7th are praying for a winning picture. And I can say to you that Aliyah will be, and even now is, the winning picture of Israel. Do you know how many Olim made Aliyah to Israel since October 7th?
I know you're going to tell me.
19,000 Olim since October 7th. That's a miracle. So it's not easy, but we tried and succeeded in convincing the Treasury, and of course the Minister of Aliyah and Integration, Ophir Sofer, had a lot of work in it to convince that making Aliyah to Israel now is something that the state of Israel needs more than ever. With our partners, we are saying that Olim today, building Israel's tomorrow, and we are very proud of it.
So a lot of new benefits you're giving in terms of rental assistance, in terms of tuition, education, things like that. Where do you feel it's going to make the most difference?
So first of all, we have a new project with students, with academia. We have degrees, special degrees that you start the first year with your own language from home, with English speakers and French speakers and Russian speakers. And the second year you're studying with Israeli, and after you have your Hebrew better. So this is the first thing, but we have new programs of Aliyah with housing. First of all, we've just approved a new act that new Olim will be able to have a better rate of mas rechisha for your buying your first house in Israel. And it will be a lot cheaper for new Olim. And Olim that will go to the south, to the north, and to Judea and Samaria will have 2,000 shekels every month for 2 years. It will help them build their life in Israel. Because we understand in the ministry that Aliyah is just the beginning. Today, more and more of our effort are for integration. Because we understand that if we'll have a better integration, we'll bring more Olim to Israel. So we're working very hard about the integration part.
That's a key, because it's not just the Ministry of Immigration, Aliyah, it's the Ministry of Absorption as well. It's not just about bringing Olim, it's about keeping them there. I think that gets overlooked many times.
Exactly. You know, I told my deputy of encouraging Aliyah that till October 7th, most of my effort was on integration, because I really believe that if our integration will be better, then we will succeed in bringing more Olim. We have a big reform. Last year in this convention I talked about that we are planning, and now we are after it, a big reform in studying Hebrew. We don't wait for the Olim to come to Israel. Every Ole that open Aliyah file gets a link for studying Hebrew before he makes Aliyah. And now in Israel we have more ulpanim than ever for 20,000 Olim that can learn Hebrew each year. Now more than 50,000 Olim can learn Hebrew with a lot more ulpanim that we opened this year.
That's great. When I made Aliyah, we had a bunch of 30-year-olds sitting in a room in Merkaz Klita learning the Aleph Bet. You're already so far behind. To be able to get that in advance and hit the ground running once you get to Israel, I mean, that makes a lot of difference.
Exactly. And we now understand that we are trying to bring the Olim more and more information before the make Aliyah. We have a special division in the ministry that's called Livui Olim. We are meeting the Olim, our employees, the ministry's employees, after they are opening the Aliyah file. We started in France, South Africa, and England. And we are now building them a program of integration in Israel. They will not land and then discover, you know, it's very Israeli of us to say to them, come to Israel and then you'll find out what you'll get. They are going to be in Ben Gurion Airport and they will know how their life will look like in the next 2 years.
It's a different type of Ole and Ola that you're dealing with now, post-October 7th, than beforehand. The bulk of the Olim pre-October 7th in the last few years have been from Ukraine, from Eastern Europe. Now we're seeing more and more from Western Europe, from South Africa, from North America. It's a different background. It's probably a much different expectation as well. How has your ministry been making that transition?
So when Minister Sofer started his position, he told me that my job is to build new programs for Olim from Western countries, because we were after the big wave of Aliyah from Russia and Ukraine, and we saw the numbers of Olim from Western countries that decreased. So October 7th and the new situations that we see now, mostly in France, but even in England and in North America, and of course now in South Africa, that we are really concerned about the situation over there. We are ready with new programs from Aliyah from Western countries. And I have to say to you, as we've started, we have like the new project of Aliyat Rofim, physicians, with the Ministry of Health and with Nefesh B'Nefesh. It's something that will build Israel for decades, because the new Olim that come from Western countries and from all over the world are helping Israel with all of the challenges that we have. And we are looking at ourselves as the HR of the state of Israel. We are doing it for years, but now we are working on bringing researchers. You know, I met last week at Boston at MIT with dozens of researchers that are willing to go back to Israel now, because after October 7th, they feel more connected to Israel than ever.
I wanted to talk to you about that because I have seen with my own eyes there's been delay for some families whose maybe tenure and business was up here in America. They were preparing to go back. October 7th hits. Now they're maybe slamming on the brakes in terms of going back. How do you reach out to them and say, hey, with everything going on, there's still opportunity here. This is your home. This is where you should be.
So first of all, by breaking the bureaucracy. We believe that most of the people want to make Aliyah, but the bureaucracy gives them the way to say, maybe I'll wait. So by guiding them and by being with them hand by hand, we believe that we'll succeed on doing this now. And second, we see a wave of solidarity. You know, most of people ask me if the increase in Aliyah opening files is because anti-Semitism. And I have to say that we see more and more young families that are saying to us that they want to make Aliyah now because of solidarity. We had a special poll that we ran last week with more than 800 families that opened Aliyah files in the last 5 years in North America. And 80% of them answered that after October 7th, they are willing and want to make Aliyah more than ever.
Amazing. Avichai Kahana from the Ministry of Immigration and Absorption, thanks so much for the time and the insight.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much.
Just a second, Avichai, Director General of the Ministry of Immigration and Absorption. You know, we're granting the shofar throughout the day, and sound the great shofar for our freedom. Freedom and kibbutz galuyot, the Jews coming home, taking care of the Jews coming home. That is exactly what Aliyah, immigration, and absorption is all about. It can't be just the immigration, it's the absorption. It's hugging and embracing those who come. It's fulfilling the prophecies. And for that, the Jerusalem Prize to Avichai Kahana, Director General of the Ministry of Immigration and Absorption. Thank you very much. Everyone, you can stand up because this is a combination between a ministry, a prophecy, and a mitzvah. We can have a standing ovation, please.